Found myself in the side of digital marketing as well, despite professionally having a background in economics. Uh, yeah, because if I talk about digital marketing, and I can say it's so far so good. And I'm privileged to be here with you guys. I'm hoping to share a lot and also garner a lot from you guys as well.
Amazing, amazing. So allow me to confirm, are we officially live? Yes, we are currently officially live. Allow me to welcome everyone to the platform. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us today. We're so excited to have you here for our very first Twiva webinar. Today, we're discussing how, as a creator, you can unlock the power of focus by discovering your niche and the benefits that you will gain. My name is Wambwe. I'm the influencer manager here at Twiva. So, for those who are new to us, Twiva is a creator fast platform. Ideally, what we do is help creators, like the people we have here today, and yourselves, monetize their influence by connecting you with brands in one seamless ecosystem. So, our one goal with this webinar is to empower you with the tools and the insights that you need to build a sustainable and successful career as a creator. So, just as we are creator first, this particular platform, this webinar is creator first. Built and made to help creators grow themselves and move through the different aspects of being a creator, from being a nano influencer, micro influencer, macro, mega, whatever your goals are, we are here to support. Um, just a few housekeeping notes, housekeeping rules. This session is being recorded, and we will share the link to the recording with all registered participants or attendees of this particular webinar. We will also have a Q&A session at the end, so please use the chat box below. Submit all your questions as they come up, and we will address as many as we can. Please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. We'd love to know who you are. If you're a creator, if you are part of any brand, we're here for you. We would love to engage with you even further and share with us the type of content that you create. Now to the main event. The main topic for today's webinar is all about the power of focus and the importance of nailing your niche. I'm sure you've heard of the word niche before, and we're going to unpack this. Your niche is essentially your segment when it comes to content creation. Are you a beauty, lifestyle? Are you a LinkedIn creator like Claire? Do you do vox pops like Chiche? This is what we are going to unpack today. We've all been there posting everything and anything, hoping something sticks. But today, in today's crowded digital space, the recipe for it is a recipe essentially for burnout and stagnation. That's what we're trying to avoid. To help us unpack this critical topic, we have our incredible experts who had introduced themselves, but
Did we lose one boy?
Yes, I think we lost one boy.
I guess what we can do, Emmanuel, you can introduce yourself and then I'll go in and she can join us, if you don't mind.
All right,
Oh,
no
she's
worries.
back.
I think, yeah, she's back.
my sincere apologies for that. I was to allow you guys to introduce yourself. So first Claire, then Chiche. Yeah.
All right. Ladies first, I guess. That chivalry still exists. Thank you very much, one boy. So my name is Claire. So excited to be here. Klaire Muriithi. I go by the moniker the brand Titan. Usually people ask me what that means. It just means I'm a master of my craft. So the same way Emmanuel is a master of his craft in creating amazing stories that you'll hear about is exactly what I do. So I have 15 years experience in brand building, brand strategy, everything marketing and go to market marketing. Currently, right now, I am the Senior Product Marketing Manager at my lovely home called DPO Pay by Network. What that means is just Direct Pay Online is our acronym. We're a fintech. We process payments for small, large, and medium sized businesses across close to 21 markets in Africa. On this side, I have a small platform on LinkedIn. I'm hopefully gonna cross 10,000 followers by Saturday, or if not next week, Monday. I share stories around. It's actually not necessarily stories. I share campaign insights and brand and marketing insights as well as advertising insights, and I'll tell you why later. But other than that, I'm a mom to a child of one. Actually, one child. Just so we're clear, she's an only child. She'll come and watch this video after school. Her name is Ayana, and I'm happy to be here. Chiche.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Emmanuel Chiche. I'm a content creator. I majorly focus on Voxbox, just as we had mentioned, and also I do skits. But generally, as a content creator, I acknowledge that I am a monetized content creator because, it is not that easy to say that you're just a content creator without having it earning you something. Apart from that, I am a young man who is an actor, and that's how the passion for content creation came through. And also, apart from that, I am a football fan. I'm a Man United fan, and yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I have a lot of notes here, and I'm really looking forward to share with you guys and also learn from you guys, so that we can establish this recipe in the best manner possible. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. So I'm not sure whether we lost Claire. So in the Claire,
I'm
are
still
you with?
here. I'm here.
Okay, awesome. I'll be biased. Yes, ladies first. So let's start with you. You've worked for powerhouse brands like Safaricom, Coca-Cola, DPO currently. From your perspective, why is defining the niche of your niche as a foundation, the foundation of being a content creator or a creator's brand identity?
No, okay, thank you. This question is not easy. It sounds simple. So first, I think it's just to understand, does everyone understand what a niche is? The way I see a niche is it's really unpacking it tells your audience, this is what I stand for, and this is what you always consistently get from me, right? I think without that, you almost end up being just noise on the feed. So if you think about how we scroll, right, you really want to ensure that if you figured out your niche, as long as you have reached somebody who finds that your content is relevant, they're going to stop the scroll, right? My brother and I are very passionate about digital marketing. He's a big growing DJ. His name is DJ Vilco. And we're actually saying, how do we get people to continuously know that if they see content either from a creator or from even a company, that they will stop the scroll, engage, right? Learn something new, be entertained, be informed, and then walk away. So defining your niche is choosing your lane. So if you think of Thika Road, when guys are going home, like within the next few minutes, it's a crowded highway. And so you need to ensure that you choose your lane and stay on that highway to get to your destination. It's absolutely the difference between being seen and being remembered and relevant. And if you do that, what you end up doing is you have a consistent audience that will always type your name, right? Or ensure they click the bell to get your notifications because they're so invested in what you share. Does that make sense?
It definitely makes a lot of sense. And niche sounds like a vocabulary, but at the end of the day, it's
I'm
one of
Zungu
the
thing over there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know
yeah,
what you mean.
it's one of the things that as a creator, it's one of the main things that you need to set up as you're starting up. And with this, I would like to bring back Chiche or Emmanuel to give us the same from from a creator's perspective. You've built a strong reputation as a content creator and an entertainer, but I'm sure it was not this clear. Hata hukuwa unajua niche ni nini. Could you take us
Yeah.
back to the early days when you're posting everything and what that
Yeah.
taught you exactly?
So back to the early days. Damn, that's back in 2019, 2020. So as I mentioned earlier, I was an actor on stage. So when COVID came, all we were trying to do is to utilize, make the best of our time. That we had a lot of time, a lot of free time. So we used to, you know, try to create content. So at the time, the since we didn't know about a niche or something about the niche that you need, um, we used to emulate what is doing well. You understand? So, for example, at that time, there were a couple of content creators who are doing well. If I can mention a few, the likes of Jugush, Flaco, Kena, yeah, and the likes, Seth Gore and the team. So uh, at that time, I was a big fan of Flaco. So in my early days, I used to emulate a lot of Flaco's work, try to create content and assume since yake inadu vizuri pia yangu itadu vizuri. But yeah, now that is where I came to realize that the content creation space really appreciates number one originality and also uniqueness. Yes, because as Claire said, that if you're scrolling through the FYP, there's something specific that you're looking for, and if you found that thing in somebody else, you're definitely going to not give this attention. So it took me about two years or so to discover my niche. My Voxbox niche just came in a very random way, and when I tried it out, I posted it, and it went viral. And then I realized that this is something. It's like I've filled a gap in the industry, and now that is when I discovered that my niche is now Voxbox, engaging with people on the streets, gifting people, um, in a manner that other content creators hardly manage to do. So in that moment as well, I also tried to go back to my initial skits that I was trying to emulate Kina Flaco, and it didn't work out well. But when I posted this other Vox box, it did amazing, and that is how I discovered this is it. And now with time, I mastered the niche. I went onto YouTube. I watched international content, and all I was trying to do is, gather notes from there, and then come here and create something that is new, original, and amazing. And I can say, so far, so good. So basically, that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So essentially, be original, do your research, find what works for you. That is absolutely amazing. So jumping back to you, Claire, you often speak about clarity in brand positioning. For a creator who still posting everything under the sun, even you on LinkedIn, before you found your niche, you are
Hmm.
posting about everything and now you found your thing. How would you describe the journey from being a journalist to becoming a specialist? And tell us a bit more about what you specialize in when it comes to LinkedIn. So, being an influencer,
Okay.
see Instagram, TikTok, what more does it entail?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm so glad Emmanuel is here because it's so good to see that this success, this big platform that he has built actually came from a place of pain, right? Because if we think about doing content 2 years, that's a lot of work for it before it turns and elevates you. So the journey from generalist to specialist, in my view, can be messy and chaotic. And I guess, and I just want to say, imagine it's okay, right? Because I genuinely feel like you're also learning yourself as an individual. I know there are people who possibly start off wanting to do travels and fashion, the food and tech, and they're possibly being driven by what brands can I attract. But I think over time patterns emerge. So what worked for me is you start noticing, and I hope that it works for you who is listening, is you notice that your audience is actually engaging more with certain topics. I think that's your signal, right? So if Wamboy Minor, Wamboy, what's your hobby? What do you love doing? Like you could do it in your sleep if you're asked to. Wamboy?
Yes, so I'm a hiker actually.
You're a
So yeah,
hiker, right? Exactly.
yes.
So for you now, if assuming before you got to figure out that your niche was hiking, maybe you were doing marathons and doing everything, but the minute you start finding that your team or your audience is interacting more with your hiking content, what I'd say is that's your signal. Double down on that. And I'll just go back to what we call in brand building here. It's about clarity on what you're positioning yourself as. And remember, you are a brand on digital or social land. So I'll give my example. I used to just post broadly about marketing. And if you guys know marketing, oh my God, it's so big. Like it has so much stuff. If you think of marketing just by the simple 4 P's that we learned in school, is product, price, promotion, and distribution, which is place. So I used to just go everywhere. But when I was going through my stats on LinkedIn, I realized every time I post content around there's a marketing campaign that did well, or there's a brand that's done well. Like I think one of my signals for me is when I wrote about Spot Pesa, right? And I wrote specifically last year about how they have this product that is so monstrous that they've created, which is a thorn in their flesh, which was the mega jackpot, right? So if you think about Spot Pesa, if you are possibly the owner or a manager and no one is winning this jackpot, that was possibly a very messy, chaotic situation. And now look at what has happened. Somebody has won, and all of a sudden, the vibrancy and energy on that brand has been renewed. I mean, if Emmanuel was to win 427 million shillings today, so you come out of hizo channels, and I had to do, we don't even know, but you get the drift. So for me, as soon as I started writing about campaigns and brands that are doing well, my engagement rate. I used to have an engagement rate of 1%. On LinkedIn, first of all, that's gold, but it's also quite low considering, for example, us who are in the back end who set such high expectations for ourselves and others. Soon, my engagement rate moved to 20% and 30%, and now I'm tracking easily at 35%. Am I there? Not yet. You know why? Because everything is video, correct? So I'm really now working again with my amazing brother who's watching. How do I position myself to video, considering that I don't always have that time? And that's something I need to work on.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so, so much, Claire. I am loving the conversation on the chat. Again, we are going to be having a Q&A session at the end. So please, please feel free to put all your questions in the chat. Claire, you said your brother is here. The brother can give us a quick wave.
And
So for
from him.
Chiche, for Chiche, you said it was 2 years of everything and anything before you decided or you finally saw Vox pops are my thing. I love speaking to people on the street. Was there a particular moment that was your aha moment when you realized that this is it, right? This is what my people want to see, and how did that unique format of content make you instantly recognizable? And how does it work for you even now?
Sorry about that. My mic was muted. Um, about my aha moment, it's a story. When I tell people, they usually say yours was. It was as if it was scripted, because my aha moment came on the first day of January 2022, because that's the first day I posted Voxbox content, and it went extremely viral. And it's going extremely viral. I remember the specific people that I had engaged in that content actually asked me to pull down the content. And I remember pulling down the content, and regardless of me pulling down the content, my page was still flocking with followers, and people were commenting on other videos saying, there's a video you had posted and we want you to do more of those, we want you to do more of that. Then I remember posting one of my old style videos. Then the comment section was full of people saying, there is this specific video that we saw you post. We want that type of content, nothing else. Now, at that moment, that was now start of January 2022. I definitely at the time did not have the resources to do it, but whatever I had, the little resources I had, I used to the maximum. And I think during the first 3 months of that year, I was posting consistently, almost 5 to 7 times in a week. So that was my aha moment, and I think that usually comes to people when you realize the engagement on your page. Just as Claire had said, there is something specific that if you talk about that thing or if you do that thing, people are so fascinated about that, and they keep on commenting about that. So that is a very, very crucial thing when you are looking out on what niche to focus on. Yeah, so that was that.
Very insightful, and I'm seeing the people in the comments talking about how insightful this conversation is. Please keep the comments coming. We all work with words of affirmation essentially. So please tell us what you think. We'd love to know what you think of this conversation, and we'd love to answer your questions. So I'd love to get, as we get to the second stage of this particular conversation, I'd love to get your thoughts on this particular next point, which is essentially data. So Claire, you're known for being very data driven. So how can creators use simple insights? And please explain to us what these simple insights are for our audience, which is primarily creators, to understand what is important when it comes to the brands. How can creators use simple insights from their own content to identify the audience and what the audience actually cares about?
Hmm. Thank you. I mean, I think even Emmanuel has spoken to it. Is I am a big believer of data, but I also feel that getting insights or actionable insights from anything that you read, you don't need a data science degree, to understand your audience. You absolutely just need to have two things: to be curious and to be consistent. So what I'd say is, if you look at just your meetup platforms, which is Instagram and Facebook, you'll find just your insights or analytics, over there. Just check there. Who are my audiences? Are you speaking more? Who's engaged? Who's viewing and engaging with your content? Is it more a female demographic or a male demographic? Of course, if you find that on maybe the females are, hey, at the females, that female, the feminine side is engaging with you more, it could mean that you're speaking more, and just continue with that. The one of the easiest things I usually find is engagement. So I'll say, for example, is if you have more likes, which is very simple. If you have more likes, more love hearts, what's the other thing? Comments, right? You'll find that that already tells you that's an engagement. So that's where you go. You don't even need to create a TCG and Excel sheet to follow up. TikTok analytics is quite brilliant in just telling you how you're doing. And in fact, it gives you even recommendations about what people are doing and engaging with your content. Platforms like LinkedIn generally just struggle. They haven't entirely figured that out, but I've seen a certain improvement where they say, for example, like I'll give an example. When I shared that I'm going to be on this webinar with all of y'all at Twiva and Emmanuel, it gave me a notification 2 days actually today, to say I got one follower um, from that post. So it's really just knowing what are people interested in, and then just doubling down. Don't overthink, just be curious and be consistent. And then also, one thing I've found is, look at the comment section, especially on TikTok. That's one of the most vibrant places. And Facebook, you'll find that maybe people on Instagram sometimes can be a bit stingy with their feedback, but on TikTok, where I find it's very raw and authentic, and somebody will say, oh, I like this more, or it starts a conversation. And Kenyans, when we love something, we now start tagging all our friends to watch, and you get all these emojis. So I'll give an example. There's this creator who said, She's American, and I think 2 years ago she made fun of Kenyans. I don't know if you've seen her. And she's saying, my goodness, please never go after Kenyans, because what's going to happen is, one, they're going to come land on your section, on your comments. They're going to diss you. They're going to speak in Swahili. That is somebody who has analyzed over the last 2 years how we as a community have bullied her in one way or another. And I mean bully here, tongue in cheek, because, we can be a crazy nation. So it's really just angalia comment section, angalia likes, na utakuwa sawa.
Absolutely amazing. And just to add on that, so we see that the social media platforms are constantly evolving and constantly growing. So some of the, especially for Instagram, for example, some of the items that they actually check on when it comes to analytics and the insights that we need to check up on include the saves, right, which came out sometime last year, so or last year but one. So you can actually check the number of people who are saving your content. So yes, they're sharing to their friends, waone. It could be udaku, it could be actually sharing the information, but it's also saving that content so that you can refer to it. And as of last month, I believe, Instagram has also come up with the repost, and I hope that we are all using the
Yes.
repost function.
Yes.
And this is able to push your content to even more people, right? So if you have a personal page and a business page, you can repost on both platforms, and you can even ask your friends to repost for you your content, and the algo will continue picking this up. So Chiche, building on Claire's point, what about the importance of data and the different data points with your content known for its entertainment value? We're here for the laughs. How has data shaped your storytelling and made you stand out from this very crowded space? Claire
Yeah.
called it Thika Superhighway.
Yes. So when it comes to my content specifically, since it's Voxbox and it's engaging with people, um, when there's a period where I did a couple of videos that, when you're doing Voxbox, you can script a Voxbox video, and there's another that you can do organically and randomly. So on analyzing data, there's a period I did, like, let's say 3 videos scripted, 3 videos very not scripted. So when you compare, the scripted side had a lot of likes, a lot of views, but very few comments. Then on this other side, there was more likes, more views, and even more comments. Now, narrowing to that, that is how now I realized when doing Voxbox content, it is better to do it in a way that is, number one, random, and it is original, so that the reaction and the feedback that comes from the person that you are engaging with is natural. And in that sense, I can attribute that to, that's a period that I discovered at the end of 2022, when now I was sitting down and asking myself, you've created content for now approximately 8 months. And now creating this content, at the time I had garnered around 170K on Instagram, and I think around 500K on TikTok. And looking at that, I had to ask myself questions, especially when it comes to making more engagement, because at the time I remember I was not getting so many business leads, and I thought maybe the reason I'm not getting business leads at that time is because of the engagement. And I did that experiment, and my oh my, I focused on doing the content organically and unscripted. I'll tell you, from January 2023 to around April 2023, I remember I garnered followers from 169K on Instagram to around 400K at the same time, because people appreciated the natural aspect of the content. And if people ask me what's your secret on how to grow very fast on social media, is to make your content as relatable as possible and as natural as possible. And also to just point out, because I know we have a couple of people who are in here who are doing different niches. When we're talking about niche, there is, I think, a huge number of people in Kenya have not understood that when somebody is doing content, it is not just for entertainment purposes. you may be creating content for educational purposes. There are some people who plug us with locations, So it's quite important for people to realize and understand that there are a lot of aspects within the content creation field that is not just comedy or entertainment. Yes. So basically, that's how it was. Let me point back to my notes a little bit. One That's now the initial thing that made me stand out compared to other content creators, and I think it's really stood out with time because I am now counting almost 4 years, and within those 4 years, there are other content creators who are coming up day in, day out, who are also trying to do the same type of content. And since we have a lot of Voxbox content creators, another key thing that I have always insisted when creating my content is to have content that is family friendly. I
Yeah.
I usually feel like there's a huge audience of people who are of age that also need entertainment. So making it suitable for all ages is also another thing that ensures that I stand out compared to other content creators, because there is no shame in saying that a lot of Voxbox content creators actually create content that is rather not appealing, especially to
For
people
shock
who have
value.
high. Yes. So that side of it has actually affected me at some point, because I remember there's a point, there's a time back when my manager was suggesting my brand to the Ketepa team, and I remember the Ketepa guys were like, they just went through my page, they didn't watch any content, and they were like, this type of content generally on the internet is very sexual. And I was like, and they were like, kindly just take your time and watch the videos. Now that is the main part. I think that is actually a battle that I am supposed to educate my fellow Voxbox creators, so that they can
Yeah.
build that side and also stand out. Yeah. So majorly,
So, you've actually gone into the rest of some of the rest of the questions that I was getting into. But
yeah,
in the interest of time, because we want to get into some of the questions, I'm going to ask, time flies when you're having fun, essentially.
yeah,
So I'm going to get into the Q&A session, essentially, and then like, ask our final question, just to allow us to, go through all that we've been able to talk about. We've covered a lot of
yeah,
ground. I wish we had more time for this. So I'll just go through some of the questions. So first of all, shout out to Philemon Joshua from Tanzania. We see you. So he had asked a question to you, Chiche, specifically. And before I get to that, I have to say there's someone here by the name of Don Okudo who says they wish when they grow up they want to be like you, Chiche. So back to Philemon. So Chiche, kindly mention on monetizing your content once you start getting traction.
yeah,
From all the different platforms, it varies the type of how to monetize on all these different platforms. So we have a minute
yeah.
to just go through that, if you may. Yeah.
Yes. Number one, when it comes to monetizing content, I have some good news for you guys. Facebook is currently monetized in Kenya, and I think I should just share something with you guys. Um, that is the number one thing. If you're not on Facebook as a content creator, ensure you open a Facebook page as early as now. I know we usually have assumptions that Facebook is for the older generation, but guys, si ya wazee ikikuja kwa pesa. Yes. So number one, when it comes to monetizing, Facebook is monetized. Then on the other side of uh, of content monetization, majorly in Kenya, as it stands, it's usually brand partnerships where your brand immerses itself with other brands to, bring out a promotion of products or even services within your content. So the number one thing is to specify your niche. That is actually very, very, very important, because in general, when it comes to brands, they do not want somebody who is all over the place. And now, analyzing that we have different types of content creators. For example, if we have health content creators, for example, if you have a product or like, let's say, toothpaste, that will be really in line with that type of content creator. For example, if you had somebody who has a gifting shop or a flowers shop, that would really be in line with a content creator like me in the side of Voxbox. Then we have people who are in the events sector who would prefer content creators. I'd suggest you guys to go and look up a guy called Bonke West. He is a storyteller. He tells stories about events and hidden gems. So, number one is to concentrate on a specific niche and ensure
Yeah.
that niche uh, can allow you to place products or even mentions of services within the content. So it is just as simple as that. And I can remind you again, ensure you check out Facebook. Monetization is
Awesome.
happening.
Yes.
Yes.
So for Claire, I think this seems perfect for you. This is from Elias Gitao on LinkedIn. How do you create content that remains relevant and impactful over time? I have to remind us we're very short on time. Yeah.
Claire, can you hear me? Sorry, you're breaking up.
Yes, yes, I can. I was asking, there's a question from Elias Gitao on LinkedIn. How do you create content that remains relevant and impactful over time?
Okay. I think it's a lot of this. It's a lot of a mission mash between
My apologies. I think we are losing
usually I
Claire just a little bit. Claire, can you hear us?
say no content does in
Um,
such interesting ways. And if you look at the emotions among in a community. And I'll give an example. Edgar Bare has created a community that thrives on tea, which is gossip.
our sincere apologies for that. I think we might be losing Claire. So I guess we can bring in Chiche briefly, just to answer this. So how do we create content that remains relevant and impactful over time? So let's can we if we can do this in a minute, kindly.
Well, how to create content that remains relevant and impactful over time. Number one, I'd suggest and insist that you avoid following trends because it is only trends that wear out. So that is the first thing. Then, secondly, going back to when you are selecting your niche, number one, being original and being unique. That content will not wear out. I am, should I say, I am a living testimony in that sense because I remember last year around December, around October, November, December, I went on a little break on doing Voxbox content, and I thought it lost relevance. And when I walked in the streets, people, every person I was meeting was telling me, "Yo, we really need that content. We need that content. We need that content. We need that content." Then I was like, "Okay, you need this content. Let me do it." And yo, the engagement after doing that, and I had thought that this content, I've done it for over 3 years now. It's seeming a little bit boring. Let me change. Kumbe, it was boring to me, the creator, but to the audience, they really like the fact that it is that original and very natural. So if you are original and natural, you will definitely beat time and remain relevant.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. So, just back to the question. So, Lydia, we do see your question towards the Twiva team for the training program. Um, We are shortlisting, and for more information, kindly reach out to us via our social media platforms. But someone from our team will definitely be reaching out to you. Claire, are you back? I have an amazing question for you. Can you hear us? Claire, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can. Sorry, I had a problem with my mic.
Amazing, no worries. So we have a question here from Talent Plus Studios who asks, this is a fun one, is cloud part of the game?
You know, and I see where he's coming from. That's a really good question. The thing about cloud is that audience can tell now. Before, I think cloud used to work before, before we had social media, before we had
Oh no, I think we are losing Claire, but from the little snippets that we got, ideally, I think back in the day we couldn't tell when it was clouds, but now we can definitely tell that someone is cloud chasing, that someone is just doing something for the likes, for the engagement, and it doesn't really work anymore. At some point you even get to like unfollow some of these people because just see that they're cloud chasing. So from my point of view, and I believe Claire as well, from the snippets that we got, cloud chasing really does not work,
not
unfortunately.
work.
Claire, yeah, we agree, we're in agreement.
No, we are in agreement. I'm wondering why we're going off, but I just want to say clout now does not work. Not before the protest. And the reason for that is because people want authenticity from their leaders and they position influencers or content creators as leaders. So if you try and do content clout right now, what's going to happen is you'll get unfollowed and your engagement will turn into negative, and it becomes difficult even for a brand to invest in you, right? Because why would I, as a brand custodian, give money to somebody who is going to use cloud for my brand, which is not entirely something I want attached to our brand values?
Amazing, amazing. So that's all the time we have for today. I'm seeing one more question from Paul Sylvester. Some social media platforms are not connecting successfully, like YouTube. What what's required for it to work. So ideally, we will have someone reach out to you. But in case of any questions, please feel free to reach out on our social media platforms. Our teams are very ready to answer you. We are here for you as creators. At the end of the day, we're here to support you. That's all the time we have for questions. If we didn't get to yours, please reach out to us on our socials, and we'll do our best to answer you. What an incredible session. A huge thanks to our amazing guests, Claire and Emmanuel Chiche, for the invaluable insights. I've had a lovely conversation. I've enjoyed engaging with you, and I'm sure our audience has enjoyed as well. You've both given us so much to think about, so many insights, and a clear way forward. Please let us know if you've learned anything. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like. We'd love to know what you loved. A quick comment as well would help us understand what would like to hear more from us for the future episodes of this particular webinar. And how you'd like to chart your path or charter your path as a creator. So let's quickly, some of the things that we need to recap is that, a niche is not a box, it's a launch pad for your brand. So if you're trying to create a brand, figure out what your audience likes to listen to and what also you like to do. You don't want to find a kazi upendi. It helps you build a dedicated community and a unique value proposition. And we've seen examples of people who have been doing this. And the path to nailing your niche is a combination of strategy, and Claire nailed that. essentially the what and the why, and being consistent in the effort, the how. And Chiche did an amazing job at explaining that. For more insights like this, and you would like to learn more on how to monetize your influence on your platform or ours, be sure to follow Twiva on our social media platforms. That is Twiva on LinkedIn, and at Twiva underscore Inc. INC on Instagram. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, Klaire and Chiche. And we'd like to thank all of you for joining us. You've been an amazing audience. We've loved your questions. And I would be there myself to answer some of your questions, as well as the rest of the team, for any questions that have come up from this particular episode of the webinar, and future questions that we've had. We can't wait to see you at your next our next webinar and future events, and have a fantastic rest of the day. Have a good one. Lots of love, lots of hearts from here at Twiva. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.